Good afternoon, everyone. Record cold slams British Columbia over the last few days from A to Z. Well, actually, yo-ho. High wind warnings for Juneau, 65 miles per hour. Check out the peaks. Arctic sea ice turns the corner September 15th. See that asterisk? That's actually where it is. Arctic sea ice, does it really look that out of balance, although you've been told that it's disappearing? A look at sea ice for November 13th. And volcanoes helped topple the Egyptian Empire. 245 BC, that would be an entry and an exit from a grand solar minimum. And a little nugget from a viewer, minus 28 degrees Celsius back on October 19th in Russia. And while you're watching the video, please remember to subscribe to Adapt 2030 and click that bell so you can stay subscribed and get the latest updates. High wind warning for Juneau, Alaska. 65 mile per hour gusts. Higher on the peaks, as you can see here. Stunning photo. High seas as well with that wind. Up to British Columbia, breaking many cold records as far back as 1914, and literally the rundown is 30 deep from A to Y. I'm going to run through the whole list here. It's also available on iceagenow.info, Robert Felix's site. But I wanted to just show you the amount of change. The new record is 1.8 C at Abbotsford, but the old record was 6.5. Then the next one down there, Agassiz, the new record 0.9 and the old record's 5.5. So you can see an approximate 4 to 5 C difference in these temperatures. Some of them aren't as stark, but if we look at Chilliwack, again, 4.4 was the old record, 0.9 the new record. And Clinton area stands out too. The old record was minus 6.7, the new record minus 11. Hope area. And taking a look at when these records began, 1892, 1874. These have been around for quite a while. Yet now, this year, we're getting the all-time record broken over the last, 140 years? Something's definitely changing. This has been forecast for the grand solar minimum, these types of changes going on these multi-century cycles. And here we are, smashing records from the early 1900s, late 1800s, as was to be expected. Now, let's jump over to Russia. This type of cold that you're seeing in British Columbia right now, we need to go back to October 19th, approximately a month ago. In October, that's why I'm bringing this up. Minus 28 degrees Celsius. Now, even in the Arctic Circle at that time, it wasn't that cold. So it makes me wonder, if it was actually colder in Siberia than it was up, or the actual Arctic itself, how's that possible unless something's being pulled from the atmosphere down? Now let's talk about the Arctic for a second. All the news is telling you it's been melting into oblivion. Let's look at the melt season for this year, 2017. According to the data, the melt season finished September 15th. All links are below if you'd like to track the information down yourself. I'll put an asterisk where this year's melt season was. So as you can see, it's starting to tighten up back to the 1980s range. But they won't visually give you that. They won't really keep that information out in public in front as much as they will as the losses, because they just don't want you to see that the ice is gaining in the Arctic again. Looking at the long-term time frame, 2006-17, does that really look out of the ordinary? Does it look like it's melting into oblivion? On a long-term time frame, what do you see? And then November 13th, a couple days ago, taking a look at the Arctic ice extent. The dotted line is the very lowest it's ever been at 2012. And you can see this year in September. And as of now, too, above that line. It's not decreasing any longer, it's increasing. Graphic here, that orange line is the 1981 to 2010 average. If you look closely to the west of Greenland, you can see it's above average. It's actually over that line, which means it's gaining ice in the seas off of western Greenland. That didn't make the news. That's too inconvenient. Now over to Egypt, an interesting story I stumbled across here. Volcanoes helped topple ancient Egyptian empire. Eruptions in the 3rd and the 1st century BC, which means 2,300 years ago, approximately, and 2,100 years ago. The actual dates that they put for the change of the ruler at that time was 245 BC. Reason? Simultaneous food shortages which we always see when there's large eruptions that block out the sun. It looks like they were entering into a grand solar minimum for the first eruption, and as they were exiting out of the grand solar minimum, there was that second eruption. And you can also see it in the Greenland GISP2 ice core data set. Same thing, the entry into the grand solar minimum and the entry out cause those volcanic eruptions. Where are we sitting today? We're entering a grand solar minimum, so globally we could expect an uptick in volcanism, earthquakes, and a major eruption on our doorstep. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Keep your eye out for a rumbling planet.